Welcome to Yankee Stadium.
Just when they thought I was out, they pull me back, kid.
All right. Happy trade deadline eve, everybody. Happy trade deadline eve. The deadline is tomorrow at 6 p.m., and we're going to talk a little bit about trades, but there's a few baseball things happening on the field, and I got Aiden with me to do our typical Statcast report. We're going to do it live. We're doing it live. Aiden, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good. Morning coffee still setting in a bit, but, still rocking. Nice 2 wins from the Yankees the past 2 nights, huh?
Dude, I was literally drinking coffee 10 seconds before we went live because I don't know about you, but this time of year, I just do not sleep. I just stay up I wake up at 4:30 in the morning and I immediately go to the phone. Like, did any trades happen while I was asleep for those last 2 hours? I know it's not healthy, but I do it anyway.
Yeah, I mean it's this time of year and the winter meetings that always gets me. Like I'm glued to my phone, glued to my Twitter feed, and like I remember when the Soto stuff was going down, I was up till like 3 a.m. and I had an exam in like 3 hours. I was like, this isn't healthy.
Yeah. So today we're going to talk about some actual baseball stuff. The first thing that we want to get to is Austin Wells, who had another good game last night. We talked, I don't know, maybe a month ago about how he was kind of unlucky, and now we're starting to see the luck kind of swing in his favor. Like, I feel like he's having good at-bats. He's hit some home runs recently. I don't think it's any coincidence that it's happening when he's getting more regular at-bats because Jose Trevino's been on the injured list. And I could be wrong on this because you never know what Boone is going to do, but I think he's kind of staked his claim as the starting catcher. There's this thing in baseball where you're not supposed to lose your job to an injury, right? But Austin Wells, to me, just looks like a more impactful hitter. He's left-handed. He is impressive defensively. So what do you know about Austin Wells from the metrics side that can support some of the things we're seeing from the eye test?
Well, I mean, first and foremost, like Austin Wells is getting this job, and I think the Yankees have wanted him to have this job, like, since they've been developing him. And the question was never his bat. The question was always his glove. And so all the defensive metrics this year show that his glove has actually been pretty outstanding. Of course, him and Trevino both don't have good arms, but he's been an excellent framer. He's been an excellent blocker. And then, there was never questions about his bat, but, the first month of this season, he didn't really look too good. Like, a lot of people were getting mad at him because, he wasn't hitting the ball well. The results weren't there, but he actually was hitting the ball well. And if you looked at his batting average of balls in play, he was just getting really unlucky. He had like a 209 BABIP the first month, as opposed, I think like his professional career, his career BABIP is I think like 294 or maybe it's 264. I might be flipping that 6 and 9 up and down, but he was just getting unlucky. All of his expected stats, he was super underperforming them. I think like at one point his weighted on base average was 100 points below his expected weighted on base average. So he was getting really lucky. And like you said, he wasn't really getting a lot of reps in the first month. It's kind of hard to get your groove going when you're not really playing every day. He was kind of a platoon guy, and he was really, he wasn't playing every other game. He was kind of playing like 2 out of every 5 games. So it was hard for him to get a groove, but once he started getting those regular reps, he started, those results started to show. And the thing about him is he's always a good at bat. The guy, yeah. I think since June, he has like 11% walk rate, which that's an outstanding walk rate. He's always in 3-2 counts. That's what I like about Judge, Soto, and now Wells. They're always in 3-2 counts. They're always working at bats. And that, that results in on base. You're either walking or you're getting hits. And Austin Wells has been really, really outstanding. And statistically, he's even been better than, dare I say, Adley Rutschman this year.
Wow. That was a surprise because Rutschman's a beast, man. I look at the catching numbers. I'm going to pull his Savant back up again. The framing is outstanding. I wonder if he's going to lose any value when we switch over to the automated strike zone system or the challenge system. But the pop time is good. The blocks above average is good. We go up into the offensive stats. And he barrels it already at about league average. He doesn't chase very much. The strikeouts aren't, a problem. I mean, I'm just really impressed. This is turning out to be a really good number one pick for the Yankees, 25 years old, and 6'2", 220. You know that type of body, we've seen it before, will play in Yankee Stadium if you're left-handed. So I think over time he's only going to get better. The bat speed is above average. He hits the ball on the sweet spot. And one thing I like to look at with players is their spray chart. You see, he doesn't just pull it, right? He hits the ball to left field. He'll hit line drives to the left side. He's gapped up a few to the left side. One thing in Baseball Savant you can do is you can click on something and it'll show you the actual at-bat. So let's go ahead and take a look at this one in Baltimore. So this is a fastball inside part of the plate, and he actually inside outs it and shoots it to left field, and you see it get down into the gap for extra bases. I mean, that is an impressive swing for such a young kid. So just picking your brain here. Jose Trevino comes back. Do you think the Yankees will put him back into that everyday role, or do you think Austin Wells has finally taken over this job?
I don't think you can. I really don't think you can with the way he's been playing. I mean, like we've been saying, like over the past month, since June, since May, he's been one of the best catchers in baseball, not just with the glove, but with the bat. I think, let's see, he's got I got my wrong window open here, but since June, he has, a high 14.9% walk rate, a 278 average, a 392 OBP, and a 526 slug. That makes for a 918 OPS. That's outstanding. There's no way you can sit this guy down when Trevino is back. And it's really nice to say, but I think Austin Wells is the catcher of the future for at least the next 6 years. The Yankees are really excited about this guy, and we should all be excited about him. I don't know if you've noticed, but he did inspire this stash a little bit.
Yeah, I gotta say, his mustache is better. I'm not gonna lie. Mustache,
absolutely.
Your mustache is quality. It's quality, but his mustache is pro, buddy. His mustache is a major league stash. All right, let's talk a little bit about Gerrit Cole, the ace. So we've all seen that he's had some ups and downs this year. When he first came back, he was getting kind of hit hard. I don't think he quite had enough rehab outings or whatever, but then he delivered a couple of really good outings in a row. He's still got more than a strikeout per inning. I'm going to pull up Gerrit Cole's Statcast stuff too. One thing that we're seeing from him is the pitching run value is down. I think that's offset a little bit by his first couple of outings. Last outing, not great, but he's had some good ones mixed in there. What I'm seeing with the eye test is he's throwing that slider more down and away. Last year, it seemed like he would get a lot more strikeouts, high fastballs. This year, it seems like he's going to the breaking ball to get a lot of his strikeouts. Just kind of wanted to get your thoughts on Gerrit Cole's metrics this year versus last year when he was the Cy Young Award winner, and find out if you think he's lost anything from a physical standpoint.
I mean, yeah, I think the first thing I kind of look at there at the top of his page is that his fastball run value is, not where it should be at all. That's a really low fastball run value at, I think that's -7. That's not the Gerrit Cole we know. The Gerrit Cole we know is a guy who throws the fastball by guys. He challenges hitters, throws it at the top of the zone, and it just hasn't been there. He is at 96 mile per hour average on it this year. Last year was 97. It's still early, but I think it could be fair to say that maybe that injury is affecting him a little bit. But I think one difference, in my opinion, at the very least, is that his cutter and slider usages have been very different this year. In 2023, he was using it 21% of the time, and just through his, I think 10 starts now, maybe not 10 starts. Don't quote me on that.
Seven. Yep.
7 starts. Okay. Yeah. So in 2023, he used the slider 21% of the time. This year, it's only about 13%. And that's a problem to me because his slider is one of his best pitches. It's really effective. It's still effective right now. It has a 31.7 whiff percentage, and hitters are only batting 200 against it. And like I said, I think he's using his cutter too much. His cutter usage last year was 7%, and this year it's 22%. So that's a little concerning to me why he's throwing that cutter so much all of a sudden. And he's throwing it more against left-handed hitters, and he has been struggling against left-handers, and he's been facing a lot of them too. But his cutter hasn't been effective. Obviously it has more movement than his four-seam fastball, but it's only averaging 91 miles per hour. His four-seamer is 96 miles per hour. Like we said, Gerrit Cole is known for blowing the fastball by guys.
Yeah.
He's not blowing this cutter by anyone. And hitters are batting 367 against the cutter with a 700 slug and a 454 weighted on base average. It's not generating soft contact, and the average launch angle on it is 22. That's pretty high. Cutter, you're supposed to get it in on the hands, and it's supposed to be hit on the ground, and it's not getting hit on the ground. It's just I don't know why he's throwing this cutter so much, but I would really like him to mix in that slider more and just throw your fastball, man. Just throw your fastball, throw your slider, throw your knuckle curve.
You wonder if it's got something to do with the elbow, right? Maybe the cutter is a little less impactful on the elbow than the slider or the fastball. You know, I was listening to one of these Baseball America writers. I can't remember who it was, but he basically said that the fastball is the most dangerous pitch for your elbow, contrary to what people have always said, that it's the curveball or whatever, because you're generating the most arm speed, right? And so that might be something where he's trying to protect himself a little bit, but it hasn't been super effective. So, I mean, just from your numbers, that tells me that my eye test doesn't match the actual numbers, because I thought he was throwing the slider more this year, but you're telling me he's actually throwing it less, which is interesting.
Yeah, I mean, it's just so surprising to me because that's always been his bread and butter. His bread and butter has been the fastball and then the slider low and away. He's always thrown that slider low and away, low in the zone, and we're just not seeing it. And it's really disappointing to me because it's like your slider has been so effective, but like you said, I mean, that injury really could be affecting him. You know, he's still kind of coming off of it. You want to give him some time. He probably is trying to save his elbow and throwing that fastball less. I mean, as long as it comes to October and he starts using that fastball more and, you know, he can get it in the 97, 98 range, then I'm not worried about him. But if, you know, he's only throwing his cutter on October, then I think we're going to have a little bit of a problem on our hands.
Yeah. Let's talk about Jazz Chisholm, the newest member of the New York Yankees. Obviously picked up his first hit as a Yankee last night, also picked up his first stolen base as a Yankee. I think he's going to bring lots of energy and stuff, but I wanted to dig into kind of his behind-the-scenes Statcast numbers, so I'm going to put these up on the screen for us. You see that he's got a batting run value in the 68th percentile, so well over average, and then base running value is obviously in the 99th percentile. We could see that yesterday when he got to second base. I mean, he's going to be a terror on the bases. I can tell already. I kind of like him down near the bottom of the order. I know some people want him at the top because of the speed, but I don't want people running in front of Judge and Soto. I just don't. I want those guys getting the opportunity to hit, but I like the opportunity of putting him in the, you know, bottom half where he can run and make some noise with his legs, where we don't necessarily need somebody to get the big hit all the time, and he can just add a little bit of value there. So what are your thoughts on Jazz Chisholm from a Statcast perspective?
I mean, the guy is a pretty excellent fielder at second base, not so much at center field, but between 2021 and 2022, at second base, he had 9 outs above average and 7 defensive runs saved. That's a pretty good second baseman. To have 7 defensive runs saved between 2 years, you're doing something right. And I think that's why I think he's an upgrade from Gleyber, because, I mean, listen, love Gleyber to death, but the guy cannot field. We've seen how many bonehead plays he makes, and he's either like, Gleyber is a guy who can make a really nice play, but he's also a guy that just makes a really, really stupid boneheaded play, just an error that shouldn't happen. And Jazz Chisholm is just a much more polished fielder. And as of right now, he's a more productive hitter than Gleyber Torres. Gleyber Torres has an 85 WRC plus, and Jazz Chisholm has a 103 WRC plus. So I think he's an upgrade from Gleyber. You know, when this move happened, I was excited. I'm like, okay, yeah, with Jazz Chisholm, that's a good get. That's a good upgrade for the infield. But in a vacuum, like I said, in a vacuum, this is a good move. But contextually, the Yankees need to go out and do more stuff to make this a good move. They need to go out and get a big bopper bat to make this a good move, because Jazz Chisholm is really just an average bat. He's not really going to change this lineup completely. Like, he's not going to bring that much of an offensive upgrade that it changes how the lineup has been. But you do also have to keep in mind Stanton returns tonight, and you got Jason Dominguez waiting in AAA. So
yeah, I think both of those guys are big bats. Did you see Gleyber Torres' comments yesterday where he just doesn't seem happy about playing third base? I mean, I feel like he's going to be playing second base, but probably not for the Yankees. I think there's a trade coming. That's a good transition to the voicemail section, because the first voicemail that we got right here is about Gleyber Torres. So I want to play this, and then we can kind of riff on Gleyber a little bit.
Hey, this is Marissa. Fresh off the press, MLB just posted Davis is DFA'd. I think the Yankees are finally listening to us.
Davis
Next,
DFA'd.
Gleyber Torres got to go.
So people are already lining up their next target after we got rid of JD Davis. People love seeing guys get cut and traded. I don't know why. I mean these guys' jobs. I mean, if you suck, I get it. JD Davis, I was ecstatic to see him gone. But Gleyber Torres, I'll actually kind of be a little bit of sad. I'll feel a little sad because I was excited to see the Yankees pick him up originally. And then when he came up, he hit that big home run against the Indians. You remember that? A child leads them to victory. That was one of the great calls by Michael Kay. 38 home runs during the juiced ball season. We all remember how he absolutely terrorized the Orioles and the Orioles announcer. I forget his name.
Gary Thorne.
Gary Thorne, yeah, where he was just, whenever Gleyber Torres came up, he's like, don't even pitch to him. Don't even pitch to him. But Gleyber, over the years, I think has seriously regressed as a baseball player. I'm going to pull up his Statcast numbers, but what do you think about possibly trading Gleyber Torres over the next 24 hours?
I mean, I think it's kind of something the Yankees have to do. Like, I hate to say it, like you said, like, we all love Gleyber. He's been like he was kind of like the face of the baby bomber kind of thing. Like, yeah, Judge was like the first baby bomber and he's a bigger bomber, but Gleyber was like the young kid. He was like 22 when he came up, I think. And it's especially sad because we've seen this coming for a long time. Like, we've seen this since probably at least from the beginning of last year, that Gleyber Torres is not going to be here beyond his rookie contract. He's going to hit free agency. And I think the Jazz Chisholm move just tells you all you need to know. Jazz Chisholm has 2.5 more years of control. He's the Yankees' second baseman of the next 2.5 years. And the Yankees just don't seem to have any intent to bring Gleyber back. And while that's sad, like, we love Gleyber, his bat has kind of taken a dip and his fielding has just never really been there. He's had good moments of being a good fielder, but this year, no, he hasn't been a good bat this year. He takes the field to his at-bats too. Like, he lets it affect him mentally. And I think he gets traded over the next 24 hours because he's a free agent at the end of the year and you already got your second baseman replacement. You got to get value for him while you can. You can't just let him walk. You can get a few prospects for him, or maybe you package him for some kind of upgrade somewhere else on that field, whether it's in the bullpen or whether it's another infielder. Who knows?
Yeah, yesterday he said, I'm a second baseman. And I was like, are you, though? Are you?
Yeah, I thought that was a bad, like, I didn't see the full quote, but just to say that with everything going on, like, you kind of got to make yourself available, man. If someone tells you you're going to play third base, you got to play third base.
It's your job, right? So let's take another voicemail.
Hi, Derek. This is Booker. I'm not feeling good about this trade. Anything that Cashman does, I don't feel good about because he's usually not good at it when it comes to trading and measuring talent. We gave away a good hitting catching prospect for a 249 hitter.
Yeah. So what are your thoughts on trading away Augustin Ramirez?
Yeah, I mean, that was kind of why I had a little bit of a mixed reaction to when they traded for Jazz, because, yeah, he's an upgrade and he has control. I just didn't know how much of an upgrade he was and how much he changes the current lineup. But I was especially, like, mixed and a little bit sad about it because I do love Augustin Ramirez. I thought he's not a phenomenal prospect, but a very good prospect. He hits the crap out of the ball. He has some of the best exit velocity numbers among minor league hitters. I think he has a 900-something OPS this year. Mm-hmm. But the thing is about Augustin Ramirez is his glove has never really been there. There's always been questions about if he can really, like, be a catcher in the major leagues. And that's the thing about catching prospects. It takes a long time to develop their glove. So while he was in AAA, it don't really know how his outlook would have been. And, you know, with the emergence of Austin Wells and Ben Rice, you know, showing signs of playing pretty well at first base, there didn't really seem to be room for him. And Augustin Ramirez is kind of a prospect that started to become more popular and, more someone that people keep their eyes on just this past season, really. I mean, people were starting to look at him last season and see how good he was, but I think his value is, kind of the highest it was going to be right
Yep.
now. My only thing is I think they could have gotten a little bit more value out of him. I think they could have gotten a little bit more than Jazz Chisholm for him, but, it's a seller's market this year
Yeah.
in the trade deadline.
We'll take it. So Throw Central says, thoughts on Yandy Diaz? Haven't said anything about him yet. I talked about him a little bit on Foul Territory when I was on Saturday. I'm just so hesitant to trade with the Tampa Bay Rays because I feel like they're going to fleece us no matter what happens. I feel like whoever we trade away, they're going to turn into a stud, and that stud is going to come back and cream us for the next 10 years. So,
Right.
I mean, I like Yandy Diaz. I call him Yandy Biceps, but yeah, I don't know about that. I kind of like Ben Rice. He's been having some better at-bats. I know he's like, 6 for 53 or something like that, but he's been hitting the ball hard. He's hitting some bad luck. He's had some doubles. He's shown the clutch gene. He had that big 3-run home run against Baltimore, and then against Boston the other night, he hits one off the wall for a double that ended up being a huge run. So any thoughts on Yandy Diaz? I mean, I can't imagine that you're on board with replacing Ben Rice with Yandy Diaz.
Yeah, I mean, you know me, I'm a big Ben Rice guy. As you said, he's been struggling a bit as of late. He's always going to have whiff problems. He's always going to have strikeout problems. But the good thing is he's still smoking the ball. He still has like a 20% barrel rate, which is still outstanding. And I'm not crazy about the Yandy Diaz idea. I think, beggars kind of can't be choosers right now. I think Yandy Diaz would really help this lineup. My only thing on him is, you can play him at first base, you can play him at third base. He's not a good fielder at all. He has last year in 2022 at third base, he had negative eight outs above average. He's a terrible, terrible fielder. He has -1 outs above average at first base this year, -5 last year. I'm not sure that's really a good pairing with the Yankees, considering their infield defense has been a little bit shaky this year. But, Jazz Chisholm wasn't a defensive upgrade. Volpe's a gold glover. But, yeah, I'm not too crazy about Yandy Diaz. But if the Yankees traded for him, I wouldn't be mad. But like you said, I would be a little suspect trading with the Rays because, why do they want to get rid of Yandy Diaz so bad? And what prospects do you want so bad, and why do you want them? And why do we not want them? But what do you know that we don't?
Exactly. That terrifies me. We've got a couple more voicemails. Full disclosure, I have not listened to these yet because, as I was telling Aiden, I have not been sleeping good during the trade deadline. I wake up and I wake up at 4:30 in the morning and I'm checking the Twitter feed. And so when I wake up for the final time around, 7 a.m., I'm just completely out of it. So I've been kind of dragging this morning. I've had a couple cups of coffee, took a walk, but I have not gone through the voicemails like I usually do. So let's hope there's not a whole lot of F-bombs in this one.
Hey, Derek, Chain.
Well, just as the Yanks start maybe moving after 2 months of lackluster play and only being in it because Baltimore is lackluster too.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you know, Stanton comes back to drag the Yanks down.
Oh, come on.
For another month.
Come on, we missed him.
Hurt again, hopefully.
Chain.
And I guess I don't understand trading pitching when we need pitching. Unless we're going to trade pitching for pitching, maybe that would help. And Cabrera is a good trade product, and he deserves a chance to play every day with somebody. So, yeah, maybe we could get some pitching for him. Well, thanks for the program. Oh, one of your guests you had on a couple of weeks ago, you guys were talking about the Yankees relaxing maybe their facial and hair length rules. Gee, that's the last thing I'd want to see. Because, man, if you think I'm pissed off when somebody like Rodon or Cortez pitches the way that they've been pitching most of the year,
boy, I'd really be pissed off if they're out there on the mound worried about the way their hair looks.
Yeah, imagine somebody getting shelled with a beard. That would be the end of the world. But I appreciate the call, Shane. Shane's always interesting. I think he sounds like Hulk Hogan. But, yeah, I mean, I don't want to be too hard on Stanton because he has actually had a really good year. Like until he got hurt, he had 18 home runs. I'm a little worried he's going to slump a little bit when he comes back because he always seems like he does that. I think tonight's going to be critical. Like if he gets a big hit right away and starts feeling good. And look for his balance, like how he fouls balls off. Like if he's fallen off balance after he fouls a pitch off or swings and misses, you know he's not right. But if you see that stable lower half, I think that tells you that he's feeling good and he's going to hit. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think we should give Stan a little bit of leash, at least for this first series, because he didn't have a rehab assignment. So you do want to give him a little bit of time. And I'm not going to be harsh on him either, because like you said, he had 18 home runs before he went down, and he was pretty crucial protection to Judge and Soto. Like you can almost see like this cold streak for the Yankees really like kicked in when Stanton went down, because people weren't throwing to Soto and Judge anymore, because you don't have to throw to Stanton either. You can say what you want about Stanton over the past few seasons. Oh, he's injury prone, and he did have that bad year last year, but he's always a power threat. He still is one of the hardest hitters in baseball. He still smokes the ball, and pitchers are afraid of him. They don't care that he had a bad season last year. Pitchers don't want to pitch to Giancarlo Stanton. So he's a pretty big part of this lineup. But I think we give him a little bit of leash just for this first series or two, but he's very important.
All right, final voicemail, then we're going to call it a day and wait for some trades to break.
Hey, it's Matt calling in after seeing the box score from tonight. I saw a comment early today about how we could have bid higher for Paredes and gotten him at third, but knowing that we're going to need more pieces by the deadline in a day and a half, what is there to trade for the Yankees? Like, Glaber's heating up, Verdugo's heating up. Boone said they were seeing good signals, and we saw them tonight. If they stay hot, you don't get rid of them. But with those cards they've got this season, they're not worth much. And the farm, I'm not familiar with. Dominguez isn't going anywhere. And Jones, they said, is off the table. So what does Cashman have to work with? Thanks. Love the show. Peace.
All right. Appreciate it. I mean, there's a lot of guys in the minor leagues that the Yankees could deal that maybe we haven't, examined. I mean, any prospects that are in the top 20, I think teams would definitely have scouts on. I don't see them trading Dominguez or Jones, like you said, but I think Roderick Arias could be a major trade piece. I mean, number one international signee. He's not having a great year, but he's only 19 years old. He's got a ton of talent, switch hitter. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I actually don't think Spencer Jones is completely off the table. I know it's been rumored that he's, off the table. He's been rumored off the table since the offseason, but I think that's a little bit of negotiation through the media. Like, I don't think the Yankees are excited about Spencer Jones as much as they say they are. I think they are, but he's got some strikeout problems. He's got some ground ball problems. He's been kind of struggling in Double-A this year. So I wouldn't be surprised if they could trade him while his value is high. But there are plenty of prospects in the system that they could trade for, somebody on the market. You got Will Warren, you got Chase Hampton. Clayton Beeter went down, so I don't really think you can trade him. Same with Everson Pereira. But there's some hitters or some pitchers in their farm that they could trade. I think teams around the league do like Yankees pitching prospects because their pitching development has been pretty solid over the past few seasons. But yeah, there's options for them out there, but time's ticking too. But same with Glaber and Verdugo. I think they're definitely on the table for a trade too, because Verdugo does have a replacement in Jason Dominguez, and you could get value for him while you can.
Yeah, I would not be shocked to see the Yankees deal Nestor Cortez. I know that he has not been great lately, but you got Cody Poteet coming back. You got Clark Schmidt coming back. A lot of teams need arms. Like you said, it's a seller's market. I think you can probably get overvalue for a guy who is a left-handed pitcher who can pitch both in the rotation and the bullpen. Maybe you get him a little bit of rest, and he can really kind of, dial it up down the stretch. So, it'll be interesting to see what happens over the next 24 hours. So we got somebody trying to make my prediction for me. JD says, Nostraderic prediction, Stanton, Golden Sombrero. I'm going to say no on that. Actually, my Nostraderic prediction tonight is Juan Soto. I think Juan Soto's going deep. He's been, to me, he's squaring the ball up good. He just has not, he has not gone on that hot streak like he had before his injury. And I think he's due. He had that big home run a couple of days ago in Boston. And, against Philadelphia, he's facing Zach Wheeler tonight. It's a good challenge for him. He seems to hit well against good pitchers, like he gets up for it. So he's my prediction tonight. Juan Soto going deep. You got any predictions?
My prediction tonight, you know what? I'm gonna be a little fun. Jazz Chisholm 3-hit game. I think he
3-hit game.
Double and 2 singles. Maybe not 3 hits. 2 hits would be the safer bet.
So a multi-hit game.
I do have a trade prediction, and I want to get your Nostraderic trade prediction.
Sure.
What happens in the next 24 hours? I think the Yankees are going to trade for Jonathan India and some kind of reliever we haven't heard of yet.
I'm going to say Matt Chapman out of nowhere, out of left field to play third base.
I would love that.
He's a great glove. He's got power. He's a threat. Like, even if he doesn't hit for a high average, the Yankees don't really care about average, even though they say they do. I think having a little bit of extra pop, like you said, a big bopper in that lineup who's just a threat, and also we know what he can do defensively. He's not going to cost a ton because he makes a little bit of money, so you can probably get him for like a couple of mid-level prospects. I think he's my out-of-nowhere prediction. So
I hope you're right. I really hope you're right. He'd be awesome on this team.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for watching. We're going to be back pretty much weekly for the rest of the season with the Statcast report. Also, big announcement. Aiden is part of NYY Recaps now. He's handling our TikTok and our Instagram, all that good stuff. So we are now on TikTok. It is at NYY Recaps Pod. You got to add the little pod on there. But we're posting shorts from all these different interviews and games and things like that. So go ahead and follow us on all your favorite platforms. Follow us on all your podcast, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. I probably should have thought this through before I said it because I sound like a moron. But follow us on everything. Like and subscribe. Help us get to 50,000. Aiden, thank you very much. And we will see you after the game this evening.
Ball game.